Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Christopher Michael Bowen, on this edition of Fire of Liberty on this 27th of May 2017, as we consciously co-create renaissance and resonance on Earth in this spectacular, wonderful, and elegant golden age with abundance, infinite wisdom, and, of course, the grandest, best, and most peaceful solutions that exist. Of course, as already mentioned, one of the grand things about, of course, the advanced way of how healing is done is the very fantastical point of the countless types of limitless advance, which I've mentioned many different times in different editions, but the countless and many different types of technologies, and crystal technologies too, and sonic healing technologies, and actual consciousness driven healing, and the consciousness healing of, let's call it crystal healing, which has already been made, done, created, and is the grand thing is that it's once again being disseminated, once again opening up the minds, as previously stated, to an era and to an understanding of the limitlessness of what the expansiveness of what are, of course, minded, of course, the increasing raising of consciousness, higher consciousness, and, of course, higher state of being, which is already developed and already innate due to the fact that, as already reiterated, that's the type, the miraculous thing about it, a type 14 civilization. But now, once again, because of this grand acceleration, we're already at a type 30, moving on to a type 31 civilization. Able to the power output of 10 to the 306 watts. Once again, endless peace also generates due to the wisdom, which is very, very exciting for all of the entirety of everything that we are becoming, everything that we strive for, and the wonderful excitement of just knowing the type of, the abundance and the limitless of peace and the expansiveness and the really just the creative mindset of what allowed all of us to be a part of this process. Once again, I said every single human being is important in this part, so it's important to reiterate what some of the very key things, which ultimately, of course, it's mind expanding, I guess, to, of course, understand the type of, the change in lifestyle, for example, just to simplify, a change of lifestyle that comes from the fact of the type of extremely quick healing type of technologies that are already in existence, for one. Two, of course, the advanced transportation technologies, which I've already mentioned. I'm not going to reiterate. And of course, the advanced energy technologies, of course. The type of application, for example, faster than light travel, spacecraft, motherships, biospheres, the crystal generators that run them, to the way that life can be lived to not only move from solar system to solar system, but actually be able to basically build solar systems, as I already reiterated, as one of the, which is already what we can do as a type. 15 civilization, honestly, as a type 6, type 7 civilization. However, the wonderful expansiveness of that, which allows us to, of course, not only be limitlessness in the understanding of this, but of course is to continually progress into this golden age with pure clarity, understanding, and ability to just be. One key part of it is awareness, and that is basically enough truth in itself. Because, for example, the awareness that already comes with the ability to travel to other parts of the galaxy at very short periods of time allows us to be able to understand that it's possible to go safely from one part of, and of course this has already been reiterated, but go from one part of the planet to the other. Just like the Garthian forms of transportation. Of course, the symposium, which once again is important to know about. But of course, the elevated levels of food, which I've already mentioned before, but that type of understanding, of course, is what allows us awareness, which of course allows us to be, of course, healthier, stronger, and continue to live in this unified world, which is already unified. We're already unified with our inner Earth, Agartha, Telos, several other cities that are connected to the Gartha, obviously all the Gartha network, and of course the wonderful fruition of the paradisical understanding of course, the pure water, the pure light, and ultimately, this has come down to the spiritual level of the radiance that exists within, and this is spectacular because this is the radiance that, of course, exists within every single being, and every single being is alive and well and full of light and love. That is something probably you only hear me say, but I do see that spark of peace and light, and it's as weird it sounds. The fact of the matter is that, of course, with the understanding, and it's quite a lot of history, which is why I already broke it down. Well, at least not. Of course, one, the galactic history is a lot of history. Two, it's just the understanding of it, and also with what comes with wisdom, is to be aware, of course, of the unconditional love, the eternal peace, and the infinite wisdom. That is one, that is there provided. Two, that's always provided. And, three, that continues to accelerate in a positive, beneficial, and extraordinarily, of course, eternally blissful way. Eternally blissful understanding and eternally blissful consciousness. Now, of course, in the freedom, this wonderful, great things, the freedom, the liberty, is one of the main things, of course, one of the main ideas of what allows the intellect to grow. For example, the freedom that entails, or not entails, but the freedom that's, there when, or the freedom that exists for one being liberated from just being free, is the fact that one, with the understanding of the limitlessness that comes with how to perceive life when when we have these advanced technologies. So let's go to the background example. As I mentioned before, with the type of description, many editions ago, but combining, of course, the super healing technology. Let's use one of the simplest examples: the holographic rejuvenative healing capsules, med beds, areas, rooms, pods. Of course, that allows the super healing to happen, of course, incredibly quickly. That therefore allows many different types of what were previously understood as, which is ultimately not true, because of course there's nothing that cannot be healed, but it's just, of course, elevates our understanding of healing. 2, 3, of course, the elevation of the understanding of elevated. I'm going to accelerate actually just straight to the awareness of ascended masters. Of course, which is the wonderful thing. Of course, it's always going on, always continuing, and always. The awareness is, of course, that one where they're always here, we're always here. And it's always important to know and witness and understand that we're guiding very, very thoroughly throughout this path. The other thing is, of course, transportation. There is no, of course, with the awareness and the freedom that this provides, there is no such thing as any type of. Actually, let me rephrase it this way: every type of transportation is not only faster and speedier, but it's safer and it's greater, and it's allows you to travel pretty much anywhere you need to go, especially in a peaceful, lightful, and radiant way. Very interesting form of creativity, but that definitely does exist, and it definitely does apply, especially in many different types of civilizations who have already used that form of technology, as well as fifth density, if you want to get into densities, civilizations who already developed. Same thing with the golden planets. So back to the freedom point, ultimately ascended, being in a state of ascension, which is what we're all going through, not just as a planet, but of course as a Type 30 civilization, moving on to a Type 31 civilization in this instance, on planet Earth, for example, on planet Earth, and throughout, of course, the solar system, the galaxy, and then throughout the surrounding galaxies, the ability to create many peaceful creations, such as planets, which of course is definitely possible, or definitely one of the capabilities of a Type 20 civilization, with the power wattage of 10 to the 206 watts. Of course, allows and understands the very capabilities of the very importance of what can, of course, allow infinite wisdom, infinite growth, and infinite development for which has already been created in that which needs to be built from, Type 18, Type 19, as from the structure of, etc., etc. I already explained the types of, for example, structures. That is very similar to, ultimately, what can be formed of creation. The very grand thing is, of course, something called a replicator, which I've already mentioned, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. But of course, that is what, in a sense, is the very definition of abundance. Limitless abundance in just one. So the limitlessness to any type of accommodations that want to be provided is available for all beings in a peaceful, positive way. And the grand thing is that it's a very miraculous, grand journey, ultimately, and a very fantastical, extraordinary, grand journey and ability of growth and ultimately endlessness of that, which of course is limitless, which is our potential. Now, one of the grand, fascinating natures of what it means to be free, of what it means to be ascended, and what it means to, in a sense, lead, and in a sense, exist, and of course, in a sense, be in a constant state of universal peace, which is, of course, only one of our grand attributes. It allows us to, therefore, of course, be freer and be in the state of liberty, always. Eternal bliss, eternal freedom, and once again, this is only the beginning of the endless possibilities of what we can become. So, this is your host, Christopher Bowen, on this May 27th, Saturday edition, 2017. I'm continuing to create, manifest, and lead endless abundance, unlimited abundance, and of course, to continue to grow, expand, and radiate, and enlighten, and to continue to lead. And continue to make the world a better place and co-create grand paradise. This is your host, Christopher Curtis Bowen. Good evening. Good late afternoon, good evening. And I love you all.